Hello everybody. I have another painting and this one is nothing else other than a self-portrait, and I've been very excited about this. Hopefully the music is not too distracting. I found some bangers, some copyright free bangers, okay? And I know you haven't heard anybody say bangers since 2019 maybe, right? But this is truly a certified banger, and so I've got it for you. Anyways, I'm not going to say where I got it, okay? This is my secret. But I'm going to start off and I'm going to give you guys some basic instruction for painting, drawing, sketching, doing all of that artistic stuff. Here I am, I'm doing a self-portrait, a painting or a picture I love so much, and I just was like, I have to paint this, mostly for a profile picture for my YouTube channel, Instagram, and all the above, my TikTok even. So, anyways, let me get into it. I'm just sketching all the basic shapes right now, getting everything ready for when I do paint it. Oh, and here I go. I'm just going to prep the canvas, aka the board, the Masonite board, which I'm doing it on today. And I'm using kind of this, it's called manganese blue from the brand Golden. One of my favorite colors that they have. And I'm just going to prep the whole entire canvas this color. This is going to set everything up. A lot of people ask, why do you do this? Why do you do this? Well, first of all, I like to look at number one, here's one thing, right? So you want to look at whether or not your picture is warm tones, cool tones, right? My picture was warm tones, and I ended up going for kind of a more cool tone prep. And right now I'm actually going to be getting all the highlights, the whites, right? So I can set up kind of my more glowy colors. Wherever you see the reflection from the sun and from the light. Anyways, back to my explanation, right? So you do a blue, and just based off of color theory, when color is put down onto the canvas or onto the Masonite board, as I'm doing, these colors start to change. Here's my reference also, so you guys can see kind of where these highlights are and what I'm actually looking at, because I think that's super efficient to see. Another reason why you might do this, it just makes it a little bit more satisfying to see that contrast between that base tone that you prepped it with and the colors that you're putting on, specifically the whites at this time. So I'm going through, as you can see, there are lots of whites in this picture, lots of these kind of glowy areas that I want to preserve. The forehead was a huge spot. No, my forehead is not that huge, all right? That's not why I'm wearing a beanie, okay? There was no pun intended there, all right? Okay. Anyways, all right, stop bullying me, guys. What? Hey, get out of the comment section right now. What are you doing? Anyways, okay, let me get back into this. What the heck? So you guys see it. I got all the whites down, ready and prepped for our glows. So I'm pretty excited. Check that out. I don't know. Does that look good? You can almost leave it as it is, but we have work to do, clearly. So I jumped right ahead, threw on my yellows, my pinks, and I was just basically getting the base tones that I saw in the face at that time. It wasn't anything special. I was just kind of color blocking in a way, blending here and there, right? And I actually really liked this part of the process. And again, I would almost leave it like this, do a whole painting in this style, but I know I definitely would prefer to have it a little bit more finished. But I'm adding the highlights once again. This time it's kind of more of a mixture of red, white, and a little bit of yellow. Not too much, because yellow has a tendency to take over when you're mixing colors. At least that's what I've noticed. I don't know if you guys have different experience, but that's just how I see it. And then I'm getting some of the whites up there on the eyelid, then going down to the neck. Right here, I think I probably should have got a little bit lighter with my whites, but in this case, I'm just adding a little bit of texture, so I'm not going to worry too much, and I think it ended up working out okay. Anyways, coming down to the job, getting now actually the kind of the darker tone. It's kind of this reddish, pinkish, almost brown, right, color that I'm working through, just as a base for under the beard, but also as a base for the shadows. As you can see, I'm getting it under the lip, so on and so forth. Now I'm mixing a little bit of burnt umber, bringing that down, a little bit of burnt umber, some basic reds, getting that, maybe a little bit of white is in there from my brush. And now I'm getting, again, some of the highlighted parts of the face, but with some darker tones. There I am going again, getting a little bit more pink tone. I'm sure you guys don't need too much of a commentary play by play, but here I'm going. I'm getting really bold with these highlights. It's important to have these highlights also as you're going to be layering colors, right? Everybody forgets that acrylic painting is layering. If you don't have enough experience in layering, get some practice with watercolor or Prismacolor or aka colored pencils. Right? You want to get some practice layering your colors, and it's going to help you in so many different ways. So yeah, don't forget it's about layering, right? So as I'm getting these highlights, there's a chance I'll probably paint over them again, especially right here. So I saw that it was very, very glowy in this section. So I brought in some more whites. And I know you guys are probably like face palming right now, but this is just what you got to do. And it's going to be highly effective later on, and we're going to thank ourselves. So, you know, be willing. Okay, this is some advice, and maybe some life advice too. Be willing to take a couple steps back so that in the future you can thank yourself, right? Sometimes we get so caught up in the idea that maybe we have it all set up, we have it all right, but we don't usually have it all right from the beginning. Okay, now I'm getting some reds. This is just the base for our shadows, so we don't just have these dull shadows, right? We want some color within our shadows. So yeah, I'm going in with some reds. Getting the lips a little bit, and I'm kind of just wiping that off with my finger thereafter so that it's not too saturated. Now you want to be careful doing that because sometimes you can smear the paint all across the face and it looks like you got a bloody mess, right? Now I'm going down for the shadows under the neck. This is a huge point of interest, right? I want to make sure that I get this down right, otherwise it's going to look kind of funny, especially with the contrast of that really bright white part of my neck. And then that dark that's going to be coming in. Okay, so I brought that in. Gonna let that dry, settle. Getting some of the shadows that I feel like I missed. Going back on the jawline and getting that, and also under the cheekbones for a little bit of dimension. So you want to make sure you're always emphasizing. If you're a woman and you do your makeup, right, it's all about that contour, right? Am I right? If I'm wrong, please comment down below. Maybe I'm using the wrong what's a word? Wrong word. Anyways, now I'm gonna get up around the eyelid again, both on top and below. There we go. Again, wiping it down, mixing some whites in. Again, you already know we are about to get crazy. A little bit of burnt umber, a little bit of that red. Oh, now it's a little bit more of a pink, a little bit more white. Okay, now we're going back into the neck. And see, that's how it's gonna start looking for a little. Again, it's not totally perfect yet, but I want those reds to be vibrant, and having that warmer undertone helps a lot. Otherwise, it's gonna come off looking almost semi-green. We don't want that. So, again, we're doing this in layers, so it doesn't really matter. Now, this is where I get a little bit creative. So I'm getting the whites back in again. Highlights, right? That's the name of the game. You want to list your lights and your darks and you will be successful. Okay, I'm looking at the arms. Okay, getting all that in. The lights, the darks, getting the best, all the basic stuff, right? Nothing too crazy. This is probably one of the more satisfying parts of the video, so just be quiet for a second. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I start bringing these really dark spots, it starts to kind of, massage my brain a little bit as I'm watching it. I don't know if you guys felt that. I don't know if you guys get what I'm trying to say. But now here we go. Now this is where we get a little bit more textures, right? So I'm bringing in the shadows, getting really bold now. A lot of people are terrified of this. They're afraid to go dark. I'm telling you guys now, get comfortable going dark. Because if your paintings don't go dark enough, they feel dull, they feel bland, and you'll see that in a second. Right now I'm looking a little dirty, a little muddy, but it's going to get better, I promise. Okay, going back in, and you're going to see how these darks are almost emphasizing the colors we put down, right? Almost emphasizing those reds. Okay, now we're going back in with those reds that we mixed earlier. Okay, and I'm actually rubbing them down with my fingers so that they give a little bit of texture, right? Watch this. Okay, rubbing it. Oh, do I rub it down? I did. I remember doing it. Anyways, I guess I didn't show too much of that, but you rub it down and it gives you a cool little rough, rugged texture, which I really love. Now we're getting the eyes. My eyes are kind of technically, actually I looked it up this week, I guess this is an eye color. I always thought my eyes were hazel because I didn't know what else they were. And I guess they actually classify as amber. When you're getting colors like this that are kind of glowy, you get a good white base tone under. Right now I look a little bit like Emperor Palpatine, right? Okay guys, stop laughing. I know I'm funny. I'm just kidding. I know that's so awkward. You guys were actually probably not laughing. One of you were. I know. I can hear it through the screen. All right. Anyways, I got those base colors down, got the whites, and then I went down with the base color of that amber tone, right? Then I go through, got some of the darks to kind of outline. Again, I'm paying really close attention to my picture. Because if you don't, you don't know what you'll miss. You don't know what details you're skipping out on, right? And then I got really dark, and later on I actually added, and I don't show it on camera, I add a little bit of a iridescent gold tone from the brand Golden over the eyes, so that way it kind of glows and pops out in certain lighting and things like that. And it looks actually pretty similar to my eyes usually. So, okay, there we go. I'm getting some of the darks. Again, we'll adjust that nose a little bit later. Okay, a little shift in tone. We're getting the blues down. Okay, this is where I felt like I was needing to get a little bit bold, right? So I got those whites down so I initially could get the blues on top, create the highlights. And then I'm going back into the shadows on the face again and again. You're going to have to do this over and over again, right? It's kind of the process with acrylic is you're going back and forth until finally you feel semi-happy or completely happy. I don't know, either way, right? Okay, here we go. Now I'm bringing back kind of a wash of this burnt umber, a little bit of red, not too much, not enough that you can really notice. But you can see I'm bringing in that wash, and then it gave me some room to then bring the highlights on top and make it look kind of cool, right? It's going to get better, I promise. Working on the other eye, getting the blacks. Boom. Okay, here we go. This is where I started to cut things like crazy as I was editing, so you might notice that I'm jumping ahead. And now I'm doing the background. So a little bit soothing music for this, a little chill, little vibey. Actually, I think it gets a little bit better in a second, but can't quite remember. You'll find that what I'm doing here with the background, I'm bringing in this light blue. I liked kind of the prep I did underneath, and I was like, I kind of want to semi-keep it, but obviously I went in for a less green hue of blue. We jumped away from that manganese blue into kind of more baby blue. So I mixed cobalt and white together, got this, and then I got really dark, clearly. And I don't know, I like how this looked, but it made the picture feel pretty empty as I am the subject and I feel kind of far away. So I don't know, something I definitely will adjust later on. There we go, getting the whites. Once again, it's always going back and forth, right? So I'm getting these whites. It's setting me up to really it's setting me up to make the shadows. And I'm actually bringing in some kind of browns in those whites as well. Not that it'll make the biggest difference, but to me, it's just a good base for the shadows that are to come, which are coming right now. So here we go with the grays. Just kind of color blocking, right? Then the fingers. Thought I might as well just start bringing in the colors there. And again, it's just like getting a base tone of the fingers. We know it's not going to be totally right yet. Same thing with the arm, just getting a base tone. Now to blend, I go in with usually the darker tone first, keep it really watery. Then you go in with the whites on top, and it blends pretty easy. A lot of people struggle with blending with acrylic, and honestly what it comes down to is you just got to practice. And you have to understand that it's a process, right? It's a process of layering. And then you'll kind of get to that point. Okay, here's where I start changing the background. I go in with this really dark blue as it looks, but this is actually Golden's Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray with Utrecht and other brands doesn't always look like this, but with Golden, it's kind of this really dark, deep blue, and I love it. I don't know if you guys can totally tell, as I also have that blue right beneath it, so it's gonna look more blue than it typically does, but it's this really beautiful color, and I love it. It's also kind of a matte tone too, which later we will fix because I want to add a little bit of depth. I brought some reds on top of this. I'm just trying to get a good base background, which I actually took from, if you guys have seen the video, the Breaking Bad 2 trailer. It's like just a fake trailer on YouTube. Kind of took that background, mixed it up, changed it a little, and then I did a gloss coat on top of that background. Okay, working in the kind of more purple tones in the arm. Now, obviously, that wasn't totally correct because my printer is just missing the yellow tones. So it actually all printed out kind of more red and pink. And so I'm adjusting it as I go. As you can tell, I brought in a lot more yellows a little bit later. Back into the shirt, kind of keeping it this sketchy, cartoony style almost. But I wouldn't normally do that, but I kind of liked how it looked. Same thing with the sleeve right here. But there we go. I think it looks super good, and honestly, in a lot of ways, I feel like you could pass it off as not done, obviously, but for a lot of people at a glance, you might be like, oh, that is done, but it's not. Here I'm working on the lips now. And this is where I just got some of the shadows, right? We're gonna adjust just the shape, and here we go. Now, of course, here's one thing. I got a little bit orange on my face, right? And actually, I really liked it. What ended up happening is that the light kind of just worked better with the picture. If you look at it, you can kind of see. I don't know. I liked it. It's just the orange on that corner of my face, on that right side. Okay, but here I am. I'm working on the fingers now. And you saw the colors I mixed. It was a little bit of red, a little bit of white. I even got a little bit of, actually I did get black. Yeah, I did. Okay. All right, you can see it literally right there on the screen. I got black, okay? I think there was yellow. I'd have to go back and check. But anyways, you saw it. And I'm going in. Now, one thing you have to understand is there's some like reflections on the knuckles. That's why I'm adding these like really weird white spots. And I think I did decent at executing the actual coloring and the reflection a little bit later, but towards the beginning, this was feeling rough. I was kind of a little stressed out at this point. I'm like, I just want this to be done. I need a video for next week for you guys. And I also wanted to give it my best shot, trying to be my very best with this. And then I started going in with, of course, these purples. So it was just straight up red and blue. Mix those together, and this is the color I got. And I think it worked really good for these shadows. Actually really set me up very well for the highlights as well. So you guys can see me working in both of those things. I'm also getting those highlights, especially where those reflections are. And this was, again, like I said, stressful, but as I kept going, I started feeling a little bit more confident. It felt pretty good. And I don't know, maybe you guys have ever felt that way before as you're doing your art. You're like, I really don't think this is going to turn out very well, but then it does. And I think that's something that any artist can really relate with. So here you guys go. It's a little aesthetic montage. Me getting a little bit closer, getting those really fine details on my wedding ring, which my beautiful wife got me. Oh my gosh, she's the best. You can see that. And I'm sorry for the picture quality. It's not the best, but it's a little something, the best I can get for zooming in, 4,000 times, the zoom, right? Anyways, so I want to just kind of discuss really quick. You guys already get the rest of this. If you guys want some tutorials, I want to do some free courses for you guys, because honestly, my channel is not about me. It's about you guys. And I know that for your guys' benefit, I think it would be fun to just create something with you guys. Maybe create a little art community. Would you guys be interested in that? Please comment below if you think so. Anyways, here's the hands. I think they look pretty good. There's a couple final touches though, which I'm not going to get to today, but I did touch on them. And there you go. After absolutely harassing the social space of Instagram, TikTok, YouTube with posts of me doing this and never actually finishing it, it's actually done. Here it is, my self-portrait. you know, I felt every good artist needs a self-portrait. Also, I needed a profile picture for all my socials. But the biggest thing of all is that I wanted to set the pace, right? I wanted to show the example of me trying to accomplish my goal of painting 50 paintings this year. Now, obviously, your guys' goals are going to be completely different, right? Your guys' goals are going to be like, maybe you want to paint 400 this year. I don't know who you are and what kind of pace you're working on. I know you're probably just an absolute machine, but your goal at the end of the day just needs to be met. And this is just an example. And if you're seeing me doing this, I hope you guys know that you guys are the fuel. You guys are really what powers me to want to paint more and to accomplish more and to achieve more on greater levels and greater heights than ever. My name is Gabe the Painter. This is my self-portrait. I hope you guys feel inspired to paint today. Go and paint something fun. Go and paint something cool. And down in the comments below, let me know, did I do it? Did I achieve it? Do I look a little bit weird? I've had some funny comments from some of the art students. I know I look kind of like a little boy. Actually, why do I look really weird? Yeah, I look like a little boy a little bit. There's a couple things I really could have achieved better. The perspective, which I understand, maybe I should have planned a little bit better. Took the picture like from the camera being down, pointing up, so it looks like my fingers are freaking long. So some kid was making jokes about me being about my nicknames in high school and what I must have been called, like long fingers and all these different things. And one of the other guys, he's like 30 years old. He's like, "Gabe, can you pick that up for me?" What the heck? All right, so I get it. You know, we don't always paint perfect, but you gotta at least try, right? And life gets better. Life gets so much better. My name is Gabe the Painter, and I will see you in the next video.